Good evening, everybody. This is Omar Strada with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm here to revisit the Lively versus Baldoni case. I already see a comment looking at the title of this video scares me. Well, fear not, because we're still in the very, very, very beginning stages of this lawsuit. Who's winning? Well, I mean, if we're going by public perception, I think that the public perception, people have already taken to Baldoni's side. However, Lively has made a concerted effort to try to steer the tide her way, I guess, to varying degrees of success. At the very least, we've got some extra evidence that we must dive into. But really, I haven't been making much content about the Lively case really for the last week. Some of that was because I had a catastrophic technical malfunction last week whereby I spilled liquid all over my Rodecaster Pro 2 right before, about a half hour before I was going to go live on a Thursday night, and then I was just doing that show on a Friday. And it turned into something unrelated to Blake Lively. I did the Gabby Petito episode where we did a rundown of some of the new evidence that was going on over there. But look, I got a lot to get to. There's been an entire month of February where things have been happening. I'm going to break down some of it. Lauren Knighty, the court of public opinion, popular opinion, she's going to be coming in pretty soon to help me out a little bit in a few after she readies herself. And then we're going to get down to what we got to get down to. So stick around. Is going to be a good one.
Whatever you might be going through and wherever you might be, this is Omar Serrato with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm here to take your mind off of things. Yes, I'm an attorney. No, I'm not giving you legal advice. We're going to sit and talk like people, as these are the candid thoughts of one practicing attorney, and it's after hours. So have a seat. Feel free to have a drink and join me. Let's get started.
So that was already maybe a resounding fail because I think I forgot to tie my PC sound into the Rodecaster. So I don't even know if you guys heard the intro song or not. But I played it nonetheless. I got to hear it. So where are we at with this case? Where are we in the grand realm of things? Well, why are we here? There was a lawsuit. If you haven't heard, where Justin Baldoni and producer Jamie Heath were alleged to have conducted themselves in harassing behavior, if that's what you want to call it, engaging in inappropriate conduct on set. And we know, what did that mean, inappropriate conduct? Heath showed a video of his pregnancy, the afterbirth, him and his wife sitting in a tub, and Lively was offended. He might have, I'm not going to rehash the entire thing. You guys know the complaints, but there were accusations. After filing complaints, Lively alleged that there was a PR smear campaign that was launched against her. There was breaches of contract. There was a side agreement where it was promised that she wouldn't be retaliated against somehow. But she claims that she was retaliated against anyway, blaming a lot of the bad publicity that was going her way on, Baldoni, on his team. Obviously, you guys are out to get me because I have come out against you and you were supposed to be this guy and you can't have that. So therefore, it's in your best interest to run a smear campaign against me, to clear your name and silence me, even though that's completely fundamentally counter to everything that you've claim has stood for the last 11 years or whatever you said. You guys are aware of the claims. There were the Wayfair and Baldoni counterclaims, where it was alleged that Lively and her PR team and even the New York Times had got together to falsely portray Justin Baldoni as a sexual predator. And when people heard those claims initially, I think that people were like, oh, well, what did he do? And I think people were ready to listen. They were ready to listen to and hear what Blake had to say. And look, if you have, I don't know what your guys' familiarity with Justin Baldoni was. I have no idea who he was. I've still never seen a movie that he's acted in. But the little bit that I know is because of Blake Lively's pleadings. Namely, her amended complaint, where the way that she leads it off was that Justin Baldoni was this champion of women's rights. He stood for women to be heard. He stood for, as a man, fundamentally opposed to domestic violence against women. And they were championing all of his efforts to bring public knowledge to various claims that sometimes, so oftentimes, get swept under the rug. And she basically said he does all these things and he says all these things and he wants women to be heard, and he himself says this and that, and yet he tries to silence me here. How dare he? And the claims, I mean, we listened to the claims. There was no meat on the bone there. It was just kind of that. Is that all you have? Is that all you have? And it led me and lots of others to wonder whether or not it wouldn't be wise for Blake and her legal team to just kind of wrap this up. And maybe we should start thinking about settling the case as opposed to whatever it is that we were doing right here. Excuse me, folks. I got to just make sure that something is working. All right, we'll see how it goes. Oh, right. Oh, good. It is connected. All right. Aside from all of that, there were allegations that Blake had manipulated the media to cover up her own negative reputation. And as if that was her goal, I mean, not only do I know more about Blake Lively than I ever did before, but I know that people, her closest allies, who would be purported to be her closest allies, are starting to turn their backs and starting to speak as like, I am not your effing dragon. I'm nobody's dragon. People are starting to distance themselves from her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, for what they perceive has went down during the production of this movie, It Ends With Us. Baldoni has largely become a sympathetic figure in what started out as a lawsuit that was geared to tear down his image and reintroduce him to the public, not as Justin Baldoni, the champion for women's rights. They wanted to rebrand him as Justin Baldoni, the sexual predator. That's what they did. The counterclaims, they target Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan for allegedly conspiring against Baldoni. And the heart of those claims were that those three in particular were going around to various people of influence in the industry to attempt to dissuade them from cooperating with Justin Baldoni, to strip him of movie credits that were years in the works for this guy, to potentially blackball him in Hollywood such that he would never have the ability to work in Hollywood ever again, at least not in this capacity. He's over here trying to produce a movie, and he's got Blake Lively on his team. They've been working on this since I think it was like 2013 or something like that. He had groups lined up where he was trying to champion their cause or related to domestic violence. And now all of that time, all of the years that he spent cultivating his image as this champion of women's rights, to go right down the drain. So with all that, here's what's going on in February of 2025. On February 4th, I haven't really talked too much about it, but Jed Wallace, a crisis PR specialist, ends up suing Blake Lively for defamation. Claims that she falsely implicated him in a smear campaign. He was seeking $7 million in damages. Lively's team calls it a publicity stunt, hints at adding him to the New York case, potentially expanding the legal battle. That was nuts. Wallace had not been named as a defendant in Lively's federal suit against Baldoni and Wayfair, but his lawsuit insisted that neither he nor his company had anything to do with any harassment or retaliation against Lively. And then Lively comes back and responds by calling Wallace's move a transparent act of retaliation for her December complaints, labeling his suit a publicity stunt. You hear a lot of this from these entertainment attorneys. Everything is a publicity stunt. Everything is bullshit. Everything is those aren't the receipts. I have the receipts. Everything is a victory for both sides. You saw that in the way that they've been battling for these over these subpoenas, the phone records, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I mean, in sum, Lively issues subpoenas for 2 years worth of phone records and text messages, all encompassing wherever they came from. She wanted it all. Baldoni says, bullshit, you can't have that. We got to whittle it down. You had attorneys like me coming on saying, oh, well, they're not going to quash the subpoena. It's going to be, the subpoena is going to be able to remain, but they're going to whittle it down a little bit. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. There was no mystery to that. Everybody kind of knew what was going to happen. But then you hear Justin Baldoni's team come out and say, oh, this was a supreme victory for Justin Baldoni, and it serves to protect and this and that. You even heard Lively's attorneys come, oh, this is a victory for us. What is Justin Baldoni hiding? He can't hide forever because this judge sees right through him. They're going to make him produce what he has to produce. He's like, oh, would you stop it? There was never a time where that wasn't going to be the case. It was all to do about nothing. I'll tell you what. In the entire month of February, Lively's legal team and Baldoni's legal team have probably billed over $1 million each in attorney fees and costs in this case. Over $1 million each. But you want to know the truth? The truth is they knew full well that that the law was not on their side to send out those subpoenas that were so all-encompassing that they were going to get every single phone call, text messages, and electronic communication that had ever existed for the last 2 years between all of these people. They knew that. But lawyers know that, and they do that all the time because you know what? I'm going to just send it out. If they want to object, then they're going to object. And then they do object. And then it's like, well, this is a travesty of justice, and they're trying to make it and play it up like this big thing. All the while, they know, and the judge knows exactly what was going to happen. They were going to overreach in their subpoena, and the subpoena was going to get whittled down. That's it. Done. Over and done with. But, they make it seem like it's this big dramatic thing. So all of us content creators could go and make videos about it. Oh, I'm starting to see What's up, Lauren? I just looked at chat and I saw a bunch of bacon emojis.
Hey, dude. Yeah, I was flashing you for like a whole 20 seconds over here.
Oh, thank God I missed that. Hey, so I'm going to be able to hear you. I'm going to connect my Rodecaster to the PC. Give me
you sound like shit. Please do something. Guys, I was not flashing him. He's not that lucky. What's happening over there? I feel like he just took a bong hit or something. Guys, I don't know if he can hear me right now. Omar, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you.
Damn it. Okay. Wait, take off your headphones. Take off your headphones. I need to play a prank. No, nobody's going to... Okay, I can't let everyone else know what's happening, but you'll see. Hey, what were you guys talking about just before I got on? Oh, sure. Hear me, but he can't answer. Oh, you know what? That's actually awesome. Well, no, because then I can't like scream in his ear without you guys having to suffer through that, so I'm not going to do that. Darn it. So hard to troll people from far away. Anyways, what is all this smoke going on in his room? Is that like some kind of essential oils thing? I'm assuming. I mean, I hope it's not just like a crack pipe going, because This is what happens when I'm alone. These are the conversations I have with myself. I wish I had some weed. I'm out. Oh,
and I'm back. I'm
he's
so
back.
sorry to leave you alone by like that. Oh, I almost did it again. God
Hey.
damn it. You know what it is? It's this mic.
Yeah, what is happening? People are saying you sound different. I mean, I can hear you just fine. It's just you sound different.
Oh, I think it's my microphone. Also, my voice is all fucked up. And it's been so for the last month.
You were talking about something just before I came on here, and I can't remember what it was now.
Oh, I was talking about the subpoenas and the ruling from the subpoenas.
Yeah.
And how it was all this big show, but they made money for it. Could people hear me? Are people able to hear you?
People can hear you. You just sound farther away for some reason. But yeah.
Oh, I sound farther away.
So the phone, the things for the phone records, that's what you were talking about?
Yeah. The following has been a message brought to you by the Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints. Do I sound okay in your headphones?
Yeah, repeat what you were just talking about, just so I can check and see if you sound okay.
Oh, well, I was talking about the subpoenas.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying right now. I'm just trying to make you repeat the word subpoenas because it sounds like subpoenas when you say it. So, but yeah, we can hear you.
People are saying that it sounds like my mic is off.
I mean, it's just not as crisp as it usually is, I think.
Well, that is some bullshit. Hold on. Let me see if I can hear what's going on. Oh, I had to bring my whole brand new Rodecaster from the office to the home office because I had spilled liquid all over the other one. Anyway, how's life? How's everything?
Well, I don't sleep anymore, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Well, who needs sleep?
Me, occasionally, but, you know,
Oh,
not every day.
You.
It's not like an everyday occurrence.
It does sound like.
Big,
oh, this is a bullshit.
It's honestly, it's not the end of the world.
I think I know what I did. I think I know what it is. And what it is testing. Speakers.
Failing.
Totally. Well, shit. Here, I'll tell you what. This is what I'll do. I'm going to try one more thing.
Okay.
Before I just say, fuck it. Hello. Is that any better?
No. But somebody says connect your mic or switch your audio input. I don't know what your audio input says. I can't see.
Yeah, my audio input's, well, it's shit. Camera, audio, default. It says that it should be good.
Weird.
What about now?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. So that solved it. It was well, fuck it. Whatever I did. I don't know what I did. It doesn't matter.
You just changed the mic on StreamYard, probably.
Yeah, let us move on. I changed it from Rodecaster stereo to it doesn't matter.
You know, people are just here to listen to your smooth voice. So, you know, we can't have you messing up your mic.
Or they were here to see you flash everybody or ghost flash everybody.
Well, it was a big fail because you didn't let me in on time. So, sorry, everyone. You came for nothing.
The same way that Schnitzel always flashes me. He's like, hey.
Yeah, right.
I'm flashing you right now with her logo or whatever that is, the thing.
Yeah, what's she up to? I haven't talked to her in a minute because she still sleeps. So I only talk to people in the middle of the night now, apparently. She is working on, I was going to have her join us, but she's working on stuff, on a video of, well, you know, it's going to come out on her channel inevitably. And so I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's something that's way more important than our piddling ass little show. So there's that. Okay. So what do you think about? I heard you as I was doing family time yesterday. Oh no! I hope your kids didn't hear me because I'm never saying anything family friendly.
Oh no! I had to mute you because you said the word cunt, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, what is a cunt?"
Which time?
I don't know.
Yeah, some people are getting really mad about that. I mean, I'll get like a one person every now and then, and they're like commenting on that, like, "Hey, you saying the C word? That's not okay." And I'm just like, "Shut up."
Yeah, no, it's like me and my use of the R word. I've had to quickly abandon it.
Yeah, I warned you about that, bro. You can't just throw that one around anymore.
But why is that like the one that's all getting people's panties in a bunch out of all the words?
It depends on who you ask. I just try not to say it, you know.
Well, now that I have 20,000 subscribers, I probably should refrain from saying such things.
I would.
I should care more if whether or not I get canceled or not. I was recapping February. I was talking about the Jed Wallace and the threats that were going back and forth between him.
Oh yeah.
After the show, I'm gonna fix this mic because I don't like the way that it sounds on this new mic that I have.
Sounds all right to me. I mean,
well, if you ask Bruce, he'll give you a full-on breakdown about how it sucks. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh yes, somebody says it's worth it for the super chats where people ask me to call them the C word, which is true. People pay me money to call them that now. It's
really.
I'm moving up in the world. Yes.
If I could get super chats to call people the C word, I would favor that side hustle. No, I'd be in.
Yeah, that's why I don't sleep anymore, right?
So recapping February, around February, so Lively amends her complaint. This was after the Jed Wallace threats, where we're just going to have to amend it to include Jed Wallace. She adds 2 unnamed female co-stars that she refuses to name, and then we kind of start to figure out why. I think when it came out, it was like, oh well, look, you said you're going to bring the receipts, and you keep on seeing these other women are going to have these other claims, and you're not going to tell us what it is. So maybe you're just full of shit. You can't just do all of that. And then there's like protective order stuff going on in the background, which kind of sort of explains it. It was one of the like 8 different reasons about why she doesn't want to name these people. And
you know about the hearing, right? On not hearing, the conference on Thursday.
Yeah, I do know about that.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard that you're going to live stream it, no?
Uh-huh. Yep. I mean, it's going to be a public thing. Like it's a Teams meeting, and so they're doing like an audio only link for the public.
Oh, well, that's nice of them in a federal hearing. They usually don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, it's a case of public interest. Maybe they want to get their 5 minutes, their 15 minutes or whatever. I do not like this mic. I'm hearing all kinds of like popping noises.
Well, now it's just your problem, so we're fine with that.
Totally. All right. So she talks about these 2 unnamed female co-stars. Who could the co-stars could have been? Obviously would have been the kid, right? The one that played the younger version of herself, and then who else? I don't have no idea who else it could have been.
The actresses?
Yeah. She says co-stars.
Jenny Slate was the sister of the male character, and then Isabella Fair played her younger version. So.
I see. But which is interesting because those 2 people are specifically named in Baldoni's pleadings and in his timeline as fundamentally not being opposed to anything going on during sets.
Well, I remember there was a text message from at least from Isabella that was very complimentary of him and her experience with him. So it was just kind of strange to see that she was. And I know, like, the Hollywood Reporter was the one who came out and said Jenny Slate and Isabella Fair had complained, but then it turns out Jenny Slate wasn't even complaining about Justin; she was complaining about Jamie Heath for a reason that I don't fully think is reasonable. But that's that's just me. And then. I don't really see anything to back up the fact that the other one made a complaint. It seems like very random.
Well, the example that Lively used, and she didn't name anybody, but it was like, she says, guess what? We don't have to hug anybody anymore. And then one of the actresses, the unnamed actresses, was like, oh, thank God. And then she took that to be like a support for Baldoni's inappropriate touching on set or something. That was my indication from what she was trying to say. But when I read, I was like everybody else. When we read the amended complaint, it was just a lot of bullshit. It was like, what are we talking about? This can't be all you have. She did her original pleadings, her original complaint, and now her amended complaint, and this is the best that she can do. It was bad. So the title of my video was, in the thumbnail, I put Blake
strikes back. And people are like, oh, what does that mean? Well, it just means that we finally have some kind of corroborating evidence where we could point to like, oh, well, that's interesting. And I think that that's what some of the stuff that you were going over last night, those 12 exhibits.
From the publicist?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You were really impressed by some of those text messages. What did you think about that?
Oh, which ones are we talking about? The ones where she's like talking about her boss who owns the device she was using, or were we talking about the ones where they were talking about Justin, like really in a really poor way? I don't know.
Well,
it
you know
depends
what?
on.
I'm going to get to all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go word for word, but there's 12 exhibits.
Well,
there's some evidence supporting her claims, and
people with that one, it's a little confusing because it's like they made it sound like it was her phone that the company took from her when she left. So it was the company's phone, but it was tied to her personal phone number. So she was just using that phone for work and for personal stuff. And then they like held the phone number hostage, but I guess they kept the physical phone and they were able to get a subpoena to get discovery like off of that phone somehow. And it's like, it's weird because it's like this case was in the New York Supreme Court first, and they only have partial electronic filing. So I couldn't really see any subpoena or anything like that, and then it got moved attached to this federal case. Now how does that work exactly? I still don't really understand, like, why did that go from the New York Supreme Court to the federal court?
What specifically went from the New York Supreme to the federal court?
The publicist case. So Stephanie Jones and JonesWorks suing Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, and Justin Baldoni, which having Justin Baldoni in that complaint really didn't make sense to me at all. But I guess there's some contractual stuff as far as the fees they owed them for their services through a certain date.
I'd have to see specifically what you're talking about, but it sounds like probably just like a joinder. Like we have this big federal lawsuit that is all encompassing all these different incidents. Let's just combine them all together. But I'll have to look at that specifically. Anyway, there was a controversial statement from Steve Sarowitz where he talks about, I will protect the studio like Israel protects itself from Hamas.
Yeah. I mean, that's that wasn't actually a text, was it? It was just a written, they quoted him. Like it was a quote. This is what he said, but it was not like he actually wrote that down or anything.
Oh, he said it out loud. So I don't know if it's worse, but somebody recorded it. Wasn't it?
Oh, it's recorded.
Cameron's face?
Is it recorded?
Well, it was told to a reporter.
A reporter? Oh, I thought it was told
a question, and then he's like just talking shit. Maybe he just had like one too many, and he says, "I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas." And he thinks he's like real funny, or he's being real funny, or he's being like real edgy.
I totally thought that they are just saying that he said that, and I didn't know there was any, because I haven't heard any recording. The only recording I've heard is of Ari Emanuel, the head of the agency for Blake and Ryan.
If it wasn't recorded, and I suspect it was, but if it wasn't recorded and they're just saying that he said that, that's really bad. I don't think that they would.
I'm gonna pull that up right now because I have a whole Dropbox of these.
Yeah, pull it up. I don't think that they would just quote that without knowing that it's recorded somewhere.
It certainly seems like they did, but let me just double check.
Yeah. But you know this case better than I, for sure. I mean, you've been covering this like daily since about December or something.
Yeah, I didn't mean for that to happen, and then it just kind of took over. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Hey, man. All I know is around that time you were pulling like 8-hour live streams, reading like the entire first complaints.
Oh yeah, that was nasty. Like the 6 hours. So when we did 6 hours in one sitting with his original complaint. And then Bruce and I had to split up the amended one into 2 like 3.5 hour streams because I was just like, absolutely not. And then I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna do it, all the way.
I just know that I have been up with you past 2 a.m. more than I have my own wife. That's what I know. But we're also old, so.
I mean, okay, this is what I'm looking at here. It's number 27 in the amended complaint. It says, that was not the only time Mr. Sarowitz made such a threat. Later in August, even though the film had turned out very well and Wayfair had made a lot of money on it, Mr. Sarowitz confessed to another witness. So it's another witness, apparently. It's not a reporter, I guess. An individual. Whoa. An individual who was working, what the hell was that? Who was working with Wayfair on an unrelated project that if Miss Lively or Miss Reynolds ever cross the line ever, then I will go after them. He declared, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas. There were 39,000 dead bodies. There will be 2 dead bodies when I'm done. Minimum, not dead, but you're dead to me. So that kind of debt, wow, they're really, okay, but dead to a lot of people. If they ever get me to that point, then I'll make it worth their while because I'm going to spend a lot of money to make sure the studio is protected. There's no mention of a recording here.
There's no mention of it, but the reason I think it was recorded was because that was a long statement, and
it's
they
a very
quoted
specific,
it word for word. There was a lot of specifics and facts in that sentence, and it was either recorded incidentally, or my thought was, way I imagined it in my head was he was just saying it to some reporter that had like a microphone in his face.
Hey, so what was that unicorn fart that happened?
Oh, that wasn't my soundboard where it just goes like, woo!
That's what you chose to, okay.
Yeah, well, that's not what I would have personally chose. It's like, it's the loose button. So if I like knock the table too hard, it'll be like,
does he look like a bitch?
Oh, well, you know what?
Yeah, that was not the same, but all right, sure.
I got a loose buttons on my roadcaster here.
Bitch is running wild, man.
Totally. All right. How do I turn these off?
Hey, you have 2 super chats, bro.
Oh, let me get to those real quick. I just want to turn off the chimes one so that it's not stop it. Clear. Yes. Let me get to my super chats. All right. The court of random opinion. I keep on calling you the court of public opinion. Here's $2. Call your mother the C word. Oh.
You said you wanted to be paid to say the C word.
Even at 44 years old, my mom would slap the shit at me, man. She's like, what did you say?
Please don't do it. Just keep my
She'd
money.
come with the chancla. Pow, pow.
No. Keep my money. I was just trying to make a point. I have nothing against your mother. Please don't do that.
Zach says, twat, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You see what you've started?
Yes. That was my intention.
Yes, it was. Okay. I appreciate those. Thank you, Zach, for the 2, and Lauren for the 2.
It's just half of what I got paid to call someone else a cunt earlier, so it's fine.
You know what? What are you gonna do, man? I also got paid $70 a couple weeks ago on Flad to tell a story about a tranny.
Hot.
Go listen to that one. It's your own peril.
No, I'd really leave that one up to my imagination. No, seriously, which stream was that? I'm gonna go find it.
Oh, so it was the end of like 2 Fridays ago. Me and Schnitzel were telling stories. She told a micro penis story, and I told a micro vag story. And my theory was, I think the micro vag I think that might have been like a post-op. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was my premise, and I've been wondering about it for like 20 plus years. It's like, what was that about? Because never mind. Just listen to the story. You will see.
All right. That's cool. Hang on.
Stephanie,
she wants to come in and join us. Let me give her the link really quick.
Oh, yeah. Who's joining us?
Just some rando. The girl that you were just talking about with the vagina. Yeah. No, it'll be Schnitzel.
I thought you were talking about Stephanie B. She was coming to tell us a story.
No. I mean, she's been on the streams before, though.
She joined us once in Christmas.
Yeah.
It was our Christmas present. She's in all the streams, but she only ever appeared that one Christmas where me and Dominic were arm wrestling and eating the Death Nut Challenge.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of scared her off after that.
Oh, that might have been.
All right.
Oh, I totally thought, was she trying to text me? And I was just, I don't know. Oh, she did say, okay, send.
I just emailed it, sent it to her.
Cool.
Good.
All right, we got that. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to continue with this. All right, so after that comment, on February 13th, both parties are rejecting mediation. And everybody's like, oh, of course they're never going to settle because she's never going to back down and Justin's never going to apologize and all of this and that. What's up, Schnitzel?
Hey.
Wow, that was opposite of the Brianna Banks voice. That might have been her Ron Jeremy.
That's funny. That's the opposite of my micro penis story.
Oh, yeah. I told Lauren where she could find that one, the micro penis and the micro vag.
I listen. I heard.
Good
Uh,
lord.
I showed Schnitzel what my mom said about it. I was like,
Wait, your
That was
mother?
pro-
Oh,
she listened to it and then she sent me a text. That was probably a tranny. It was like, gross, mom. She's like, well, you were talking about it.
you guys are ridiculous.
I'm
I don't even know
glad
what I
no
would
one
have
can-
done.
I'm glad no one can see my face. Wait, you don't know what you would have done in Omar's situation, or had you been on the stream?
On the stream.
Okay.
I know when she would have been on the stream, she would have like covered her face exactly how she did and just like started twirling around in her chair and like made like diversion jokes trying to like divert our attention to something else.
Okay, you're not supposed to attack me like that.
Oh, I didn't-
Thank you.
sometimes Lauren 90 gives off like the mom vibe. She's like a consummate mom. Like when
I
I
don't
first
know.
met Lauren, I said that she has like a Disney storyteller's voice.
What the hell?
I'm telling you, man, you could be like the voice of one of the people on In and Out. Or
In and
that
Out.
that,
Oh,
that
no,
one
Inside Out.
Inside Out, In and Out. Inside Out.
I never watched that.
Well, I've watched it more times than I care to admit.
I think
Because
you
I have
like
a
it.
I can try to do shit.
oh my god, it's Ursula.
Did that change your mind?
Come here, you little brat.
That was
How about
terrible.
you?
That'll be the feelings inside the parents.
Oh yeah. Oh, bring out the Scar voice. All right. So after all of that, the mutual rejection of mediation, both parties calling settlement talks premature, Judge Lyman confirming that the case is going to proceed to trial on March of 2026. He enters a discovery phase, and then we have this subpoena. And now we're like at the subpoena showdown. So Lively's legal team seeks in a subpoena Baldoni's call logs, his text message logs, data logs, cell site location data from December 2022 to the present, aiming to find evidence of a smear campaign starting around August of 2024. So there's usually in discovery what's called the relevant discovery period. And it usually revolves around the incident itself. And so I guess arguably you could go back to 2022, but you can't go back to, for example, like 1988 for what? Number one, cell phones weren't a thing back then. But number two, if the campaign started in August of 2024, then why are we dipping back 2 years prior to that? And second of all, Schnitzel, I think when you were on the stream last about this case, you were like, so do they get all of their text messages, like all the pictures? And yeah, they were asking for all of those things.
Yeah.
Wayward text messages to lovers or mistresses or whatever, jokes between coworkers, all of that stuff would have been discoverable. And why does that matter? It shouldn't matter, but for sometimes attorneys fuck that up, like Alex Jones's attorneys, and decide to, when they weren't supposed to turn over the entire cell phone, and do it on accident, and then when notified about it, fail to object, making the entire cell phone inadmissible, dick pics and all,
Awful.
or vag pics if that's your flavor. So, with all of that, the judge rules on February 28th. Judge Lewis Lyman issues a mixed ruling. So he says, I deny the broad request. He says, I agree it was overly intrusive and disproportionate to what's being alleged. But he continues to allow Lively to pursue targeted subpoenas for records of communications with specific individuals. You got to make it specific to who you think is a part of the conspiracy involved in the smear campaign. I guess the pushback to that is, Your Honor, we named those 1 through 50 for a reason. We have no idea the extent of the conspiracy. It could have been limited to the people that are named parties in the lawsuit, or it could have extended much farther than that. And we're not going to have any way of knowing unless you don't limit us to specific individuals. And then they were going to have that ruling. And the judge did issue his ruling, and all he really did was he whittled it down. And as I said earlier in the show, that wasn't like some big mystery. Like there was no victory there. Like they probably charged upwards of 7 figures in attorney fees for something that happens all the time. People overreach on discovery all the time. They don't get their subpoenas altogether quashed. They just get them whittled down. And that's what happened here. The difference being that both sides kind of used it as a opportunity to declare to the public that they were victorious in the subpoena showdown. So Baldoni's team calls it a massive fishing expedition, which obviously that's kind of what it is. So you would say, look, they don't have any evidence and they're fishing for some in the hopes that they might find anything. Newsflash and spoiler alert, they're not going to find anything. And then the counter to that is, well, of course it's a fishing expedition. We know what happened. We just don't know to what extent this goes. I mean, for all I know, there's people in the White House right now that could be listening to our phone calls. They could have FBI wiretapped our phones, and I won't have any idea. But for you limiting our discovery request to specific individuals that we have specifically left unnamed, what do y'all think about that? What is your impressions of how this discovery process works? I'm so curious because when I talk to non-attorneys about discovery stuff, they are deathly afraid of what discovery entails, what they have to disclose and what they don't have to disclose. What do you think about like this in between between lawyers? Because really it's between law offices. I'm so curious about how this hits people that are not lawyers in the general public about what they think about these. Do you guys spend time thinking about the merits of the requests, or are you interested in like the legal framework of how they're phrasing their arguments? Like, how does this grab you, these arguments?
I guess I'll go. I mean, I think I can see both sides of it. I can see like you can't go on a fishing expedition. Like I don't think you should be able to go on a fishing expedition and just like hope that something shows up that's going to be relevant for your case. But I also see that they could be hiding communications, or whatever word you want to use. Like they have not disclosed communications with other parties involved. And so whatever side you would want to find that evidence so that you could use it for your own cause.
I muted myself and then unmuted myself. Yes.
I was like, are you there?
Well, the correct answer is, look, it's really boring. Like we make this big show. Oh, you're overreaching. And the judge says, yes, you're overreaching. And so that one side thinks, oh, yeah, you won. But I'm not going to squash the subpoena in its entirety. I'm just going to whittle it down. And then the other side says, oh, we won. And then they're both just kind of like, yeah, no, everybody kind of knew that was going to happen. And I don't have a chance to. Lauren, did you ever read the entirety of the judge's ruling on subpoenas?
Yep. I can pull it up.
I think I have it here. If you have it, if you wouldn't mind pulling it up, you could like kind of read the exact language that the judge had.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Order deny. Well, that one's from today.
Here it is. Yeah.
Well.
Okay. What do we want to read the bottom? Like just like the bottom part with the actual.
Yeah, just whatever the order was.
All right, hang on. I mean, it's like a 4-page order. You don't want me to read the whole thing, do you?
No, I don't read the whole thing.
I was about to say that could get real boring real quick, bro.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was not an eye opener the first time. All right. Let me get to the bottom here. Let's see. Okay. So you want just to know, it says the subpoenas must be quashed to the extent they seek the phone records of the Wayfair parties.
Yeah, just that part.
Yeah, and the rulings without prejudice to the lively party's service of modified subpoenas more narrowly tailored. And then, of course, he said the motion to quash was denied as far as the subpoenas that seek the phone records of non-parties.
Yeah, that was it. And then today we get this letter. Judge Lyman, he says, counsel for Blake Lively writes in response to the February 28th letter submitted to the court. by counsel for Wayfair parties, as well as non-parties, Wayfair exec Tara Hanks and Wayfair employees Milika Toskovich and people. Ms. Lively has issued party requests and subpoenas for phone records and documents reflecting the alleged retaliatory scheme directly to the Wayfair parties and third parties who were the subject of Ms. Lively's initial subpoenas. In connection thereto, Ms. Lively has issued letters to each of AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, US, withdrawing the initial subpoenas and respectfully request for the court to deny the motion failed by the Wayfair parties. So we have now withdrawn subpoenas, which makes those motions moot, at least with respect to them. Anyway, there's not really any big revelations there. We knew that they were going to whittle it down. It matters not. So let me move on from that. We talked about the judge's ruling. Okay. Yeah, there was that. And then there's, Lyman's ruling. So this is what Lively's team says. They say, so the judge did not entirely quash Lively's ability to get phone evidence. This is basically what his ruling was. The court agrees that the Lively blanket demand for over 2 years of phone records was overly intrusive and not tailored as is required by the federal rules of evidence. He called it an overly intrusive and disproportionate to the needs of the case. The judge notes that Lively had identified no means to segregate relevant calls and irrelevant ones in such a broad data haul, risking exposing a trove of private information unrelated to the disputes, such as communications with doctors, psychologists, or acquaintances. Have you guys ever been inside of a courtroom when like some of these acquaintance text messages were like displayed on the overhead projector in the courtroom?
Just the one about the tight vagina. It was an email though.
Well, yeah. That's funny. No, I haven't.
I had a DV trial. I don't know how long. It was like pre-2020. And my client, she failed to tell me that she had pictures that were showing certain things, specifically supposed to be her injuries. And then in the course of not being prepared, because she wanted to let me know on the stand, I was like, oh, great. So you do have these images. Yes, I do. Do you have them with you? I have them on my phone. Okay. Do you wish to publish it was one of the mistakes that I made as a younger attorney. He's like, do you wish to publish your phone so that the court may view the pictures that you have? And she says, well, yes, no problem. And so she puts it on this overhead projector. It's called like the Elmo or something, or whatever they call it. And then she starts scrolling and scrolling. And as she's scrolling, she inadvertently scrolls through, just a sensitive picture that she sent to a discerning young man to, late night text messages after midnight, I guess, is what you would say. And it was displayed for like all of her parents were in the room. Parents from both sides were in the room. There were like friends and families. It was a trial. And she did her best to like skip over all of them, but there was like 7 of them in a row. Mm-hmm. My mistake was I could have just like made sure she had it. Like, anyway, you don't want to do that. So to put it simply, Judge Lyman tells Lively to come back with a scalpel instead of a net. I need you to tailor these requests for phone communications between Baldoni and the particular reporters or PR figures identified in the allegations. And so they sort that out. And then Baldoni's lawyer, Friedman, says, he declares victory, says the judge puts a stop to Lively's attempt to invade privacy, and he's touting it as a big win for Justin and this and that. Then Lively's spokesperson gets up there and says, what is Brian Friedman hiding? Lively's team noting that Friedman had publicly promised to reveal all the receipts to prove Baldoni's innocence, yet when pressed in court, he's fighting to keep his records secret, which is not what he was doing at all. It's just like, I don't think you should get text messages that I'm sending to my mom about like birthday parties and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's all that was. It was just a big show for the public and a whole lot of nothing. Mm-hmm. Short of that, all right, let me get out of that and let's get into some of these exhibits, 1 through 12. So, all right. So we get this declaration. And this declaration was, and I have it pulled up right here. This declaration was, oh, I hate when it does that. Declaration of Catherine Bolger in support of the motion by the New York Times to dismiss plaintiff's first amended complaints. And this is what she says. Exhibit 1. It was an article titled "We Can Bury Anyone." It was an inside Hollywood smear machine. Let me get off of that. It was an article central to the defamation claims against the New York Times. It reported on an alleged PR smear campaign against Blake Lively after she accused Baldoni of misconduct. It included direct text messages and email showing PR agents planning to attack Lively's reputation. Did you get into some of that on your show the other night, Lauren?
Which part? I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
I know. I get it, man. It's late. It was Exhibit 1, the text messages that seemed to be purported attacks against Lively's reputation in that Exhibit 1 article from the New York Times.
Yeah, I read all that. Yep.
Yeah. Their Exhibit 2 was supposed to be a New York Times video that was published alongside the article, and it summarized the PR smear allegations, including screenshots of messages discussing efforts to discredit Lively. It provided a visual breakdown of the alleged retaliation plan. Her Exhibit 3 of the was filed with the CRD complaints 1 day before the New York Times article was published. It lays out Lively's harassment and retaliation claims, unwanted touching, and comments from Justin Baldoni. Jamie Heath was allegedly staring at her topless in a trailer. A signed contract clause stating Wayfair agreed not to retaliate outlines how PR agents launched a smear campaign after she broke out. And this is their Exhibit 3. It was this one. Can I share? I'm going to share my screen with you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
That'd be good, man.
Just kind of like.
I just thought maybe you were reading from like notes or something. I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Well, I got my notes, but I got these exhibits pulled up from the filings. Anyway, so this is the F. Oh, it's just a CRD complaint. That's all that was.
Did you read that super chat at the bottom of your screen?
Which one was it? Oh, the one that I
reads them.
Oh, I read it. Oh, no, I didn't. There we are then twats for $2. JT coming in clutch. Oh, so Schnitzel had made a statement that she was getting super chats to say the word cunt on her stream, while also being like chided by people in her audience. How dare you use the C word? We have come so far. There was women's suffrage. Bag. It's been like 100 plus years, and you were still feeling at liberty to use the C word. How dare you? And, you know.
I sent it to Omar thrice today in one message. It just said cunt, cunt, cunt.
Yes, she did.
Not at him.
I don't even remember what that was for.
Oh, I do.
Oh.
Can't say.
No, you can't.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans and lots of them. So the fourth exhibit in there was emails between the New York Times reporter and PR agents. It was supposed to confirm that Wayfair was given a chance to correct inaccuracies. And so let's look at this Exhibit 4. And this was the Exhibit 4. Could you guys still see this? If I click on this, could you still see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm going to keep on clicking out of it. This is just the complaint again. To make matters worse, when Miss Lively tried to have a meeting with Mr. Heath and the other producers to discuss Mr. Baldoni's unprofessional behavior described above, that meeting turns into yet another violation. Rather than an ordinary meeting time and place, Mr. Heath arrived unannounced. Oh, shit. I lost my place.
at Miss Lively's hair and makeup trailer while she was topless and having body makeup removed by a makeup artist. Miss Lively told Mr. Heath that she was almost done and they could meet when she was fully clothed. Now, Justin's account of that was, or Heath's account of that was, that I straight up said I could come back later. She's like, oh, no, come on in.
And that she was clothed, that she was fully clothed.
But not like, I mean, maybe not fully clothed.
But was pumping. And
she had like a sheet over her or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, she was saying that she was topless, and then they're saying she was clothed.
Which makes sense, because how often, well, I don't know when the last time any of you ever pumped before.
I would pump topless in my own home.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
shit.
heck yeah. I'd sit there with my nursing bra with like both sides down and pump. But I'm alone. So like there was no risk of anyone walking in on me.
But it's also like a real common thing where you're on a schedule when you got to pump. And so like, hey, it's like 3:30, man. I'm at like this birthday party, but I got to go do my thing. And then you have like this sheet or whatever, this cover that covers you as you pump. And it's like not a big deal. And like, it's super weird because like when you walk in on that, because I've walked in on my sister doing that at a birthday party, which is why I'm using that as an example. And, she's doing her thing. And it's like not, for her, it was like second nature. For me, it's like, yeah, that's fucking weird. I'd rather not go in there. So I'd imagine Heath, when he walked in, was like, hey, yo, I could just come back. He's like, no, come on in. That's exactly how it went down. Now, the question is going to come down to whose story is more believable? I feel like, okay, Schnitz, since I know for a fact that you pump, and I know that Lauren does not
currently.
I only pump iron. I'm so very tired.
When she's doing squats.
Pump it up.
Doing fucking squats.
It's a squat, it's more of a fall at this point.
Is it a thing where when you're pumping that you're doing it when family members are around because you're like on a tight schedule and it's like, you know what? It's been a day. I don't even care. I got to get this done. Y'all stick around if you want to. I'm doing this.
For sure. And I breastfed way more than I pumped, but I would breastfeed in public and I would not cover up because my opinion, well, it doesn't really matter what my opinion is on it, but obviously I felt comfortable doing that. And then if people were in my house, I'd be like, I'm sitting here and breastfeeding right now. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yeah. Which is like completely reasonable. And like, I don't think that there was anybody who's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to sit here and have a conversation with you while you're doing your thing. I'm pretty sure like most people would just be like,
I'll tell a funny story. So my mom and dad were visiting and we were in the living room together. And right after I had my son, and you have to wait for your like real milk to come in. It doesn't come in right away. It's the colostrum that comes in first. Anyway, your face, Lauren.
God, I remember that word, colostrum. All these things.
I gotta forget that word.
So anyway, I was just trying to get to the point where my regular milk was coming in. And so my dad's sitting there in the chair, my mom's sitting next to me on the couch, and all of the sudden it just like came out and I was like, oh my God, it came. Like it came, huh? I was so excited but my dad was sitting right there when it happened, like my mom and my dad.
That doesn't happen to me in at least 10 years.
Okay, so when your colostrum comes in, is that the thing where your breast milk like just comes in for the first time?
Yeah, and it's really thick and it's like a yellow color, like a gold. What do they call it? Golden milk, something like that.
That's not what I know golden milk to be.
I'm just assuming.
It's golden something. Anyway, it's really thick and full of nutrients.
Golden milk is supposed to be like a mixture of like turmeric and like nutmeg and cinnamon and all these like cool
liquid
like
gold.
antioxidants.
Sorry, it's called liquid gold.
Yes. Somebody's saying who's talking. Where's her video? That's our friend Schnitzel Ninja. She doesn't show her face. She's very ugly.
I'm obviously right there. Yeah, what are you talking about?
She resembles a dwarf from the movie Willow, circle 1988.
Willow? I haven't seen that.
You never saw Willow? Oh, it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of the only movies that I've ever liked that was of that ilk. Watch it if you have a chance and you're into Val Kilmer.
If you're into watching, never mind.
I don't know about Kilmer. I've always been on the fence about him.
Well, that would have been when he was like at his apex. Like I'm sure, like the best he's ever looked.
Mhm.
He was the greatest swordsman who ever lived in that movie, and he married his co-star, who when I was like 8, I had like a major crush on. It's like, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever
Was it?
seen.
You cuck.
Yeah. Oh, I totally was.
Who
For
is
that
it?
lady, when I was 8,
Who
I
is
don't
it?
even know.
Who is it?
It was Val Kilmer's wife. He ended up marrying her.
Well, who is it?
I don't
Well, he
fucking
obviously
know.
saw her first. Who cares who she is? She's
She's all
property.
asking me like all aggressively, who was the female
He
co-star?
just keeps like, oh, she's so beautiful, and you're like, don't even know her name.
Co-star
somebody,
in Willow.
somebody-
Joanne Wally.
Dude,
I'll tell you
somebody
right,
says,
Joanne, was it her? It must have been her. Did she
Brunette?
marry? Yeah, she was source shot. Okay, I'm looking at a picture of her. She didn't look like that back in 1988. She
Well,
looks,
Just like, how long has it been since then? Like
I mean, fucking
36
36 years. 30 years.
Snitzel Ninja, how
images.
old are you? Could you give me a ballpark?
Ballpark. 29 to 40.
Okay. So somebody said her voice is very sexy, so I assume Snitzel's really hot. But I just want you to realize
What?
we're talking about a piece of breaded snack, and it's 29 to 40 years old, so it's actually very hideous and moldy.
It's 29 to
Hideous and moldy.
I'm the stalest motherfucker you ever met.
Stale. Anyway,
Well,
this is
you
the Sorsha that I remember from my youth. It was this lady, right? Oh shit. Yeah, this lady. That lady.
Ah, okay.
You know, when I was 8, it was a thing. And so
I would, yeah.
Nice.
it also has well, you know what? Just go watch the movie. How about that?
Don't tell me what to do.
If it would please your leisure, go and view that one. Anyway, let me get back to business.
Lily May said Blake posted a picture of herself pumping in her bathroom.
Thank God I don't use Instagram very much.
What do you think of people that post images of themselves pumping, but calling foul when people walk into their room at their invites? I mean, I know what you would think of that. I'm just pointing that. If that's true, I just don't. I don't get it.
I don't associate with those people.
Why would you post pictures of yourself pumping? You know what? I'll be right back. Give me 15 seconds.
He's getting a breast pump.
No, he's definitely going for a wank. 15 seconds. He's gonna do it twice, I bet. Wait, like, think about it. He just saw that lady that he was obsessed with in childhood. No, he's definitely wanking over there.
It's like I can't hold it in any longer.
Open the diffuser, it muffles the sound of the. You know, all right.
Someone asked if he was getting a facial from that diffuser.
Well, someone's getting a facial right now.
It's his phone with that lady's picture on it. Oh,
Hi there.
Oh, what did I
Hey.
miss?
we were definitely not talking about you.
Oh, what did I do?
Nothing.
All right. Totally.
What did you know what you did?
Oh, I got a refill is all. I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I got court in the morning, and so I am taking advantage. Anyway,
And I am going to bed. I'm sorry, I have to go to bed. I have to go to bed. Okay.
oh, Lauren, you're cool, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming. I know you're a busy lady.
No, I would
know
love to
you're
stay
the-
longer. It's just that it's already past 1 a.m. and I'm clearly not at my best right now. So.
Well, it's these bullshit time differences, man. You got to get back on West Coast time.
Well, my brain
Back
is switched
on.
over into perverted mode, which means I'm like my humor is going a little stale right now. All I can do is say wank jokes and ball stuff. You know, I gotta go to bed. If I don't go to bed, I'm gonna go full blown perv, and it's gonna be bad.
Full blown perv.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever known Lauren to not go full blown perv.
You did find my porn then. All right.
I totally found your hub page.
Be honest, did your dad send it to you?
You know what? He might have sent it anonymously, knowing him. It's
No,
like, hey, check this out.
from a random number, Google Voice number.
This looks like the lady that was on your YouTube.
Hey, I know those tits. They were backstage for like 20 minutes before Omar realized I was here.
My dad would be like, hey, I thought you were going to get me Lauren's digits. And he would say the word digits.
Digits.
Like it was the 80s.
Hot.
When you going to get me them digits?
Hot.
Oh, my dad was like super cholo Mexican back in the 80s too. Like, oh, I mean, he wasn't. He was really short though. He was like 5'6". My dad was a short man.
That's the
How
last
tall are
thing I'm
you?
gonna. That's the last thing I'm gonna think about before I go
5'11".
to sleep tonight. Thank you.
I looked down. I'm not like I know. Sorry, Lauren, for the dwarf image that I've just given you.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was baked.
No, I can make that happen. I got gummies.
Dude, I ran out, so that's why I'm just like I'm not even like fun tired. I'm just tired.
I should send you a
I'm
care
just
package.
perv tired. I'm
Yeah.
like low bar, like bottom of the barrel, funny, tired, and that's bad. And I gotta go because it's gonna destroy my brand. Okay, I have to go.
Well, I appreciate it. Every time I come on your show, I feel like I destroy your brand unintentionally, and so.
No, it's all part of my plan.
Oh.
Master plan.
The
Good night,
master
everyone.
plan that showed. Good night, Lauren.
Good night.
Take
I
care.
should
We all
probably
love you.
go
So
too.
long, farewell.
Oh, you guys are
I
both
hope
gay.
you go to hell.
Well. What? Oh my god. I'll stay for like 10 more minutes.
All right. I'm pretty close to wrapping up anyway. So the joke is on you. Here, let me get out of this because I'm done with that. I was totally just going through these exhibits. So exhibit 5 is just more stuff. Oh, you guys totally distracted me. I began this podcast like all professional and stuff. And then Lauren just kind of came in and tainted it up. It was cool. The exhibit 5 was New York Times reporter reaching out to Baldoni directly asking for a comment. There was an email that listed the harassment allegations and the PR smear campaign details that Lively had filed. Baldoni doesn't respond directly, but his PR team issues a general denial. That was kind of a nothing exhibit. There's this exhibit 6. Similar to Baldoni's email, this message listed specific allegations against Heath and includes claims that Heath stared at Lively while she was topless in a trailer. We kind of know about that. There was this email exhibit 7 that there was a reporter Toohey asked Nathan about a direct involvement in the PR smear campaign. There was connections to past high-profile media battles. You know what? Let me do this. I'm just going to run through these exhibits. This was what, exhibit 7? Because if it's just referring to the complaint, I don't care because I've seen those before. All right, so this was an email. I got you. And this email is supposed to be, oh, crap. I'm just all over the place, man. I'm just
Hard
all
to
over
recover
the
from
place.
what just happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my bearings straight, and Lauren just came in.
I think, well, especially when you left, things went off the rails.
Oh, what happened when I left? I'm gonna have to go watch it yet.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back and watch it.
Oh boy,
Too hard to recap.
too hard to recap. That's what she said. All right, so they're asking Nathan about direct involvement in the PR smear campaign, connections to past high-profile media battles, including the Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard trial. This included texts where Nathan admitted, "We can't write, we will destroy her. You know, we can bury anyone." We did see that already, though.
Mhm.
We've seen this email before. Whatever this is, we've seen it. So is this showing on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Thank you for your response. Can you kindly clarify who is represented by this statement? And this statement on behalf of Mr. Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, you, Miss Abel, and Melissa Nathan. Who is CCD on this message? Please let me know. Can I do my voice? I'm going to
Sure.
do my voice. I'm going to do it.
I don't know how this is going to go. Megan, Please see the on record.
No, I'm not. Please see the on record statement and the must be included. I got to find like a voice that makes my voice sound like a lady that doesn't sound like a chipmunk.
Because this doesn't work. I don't like this voice. I'd rather sound like a beautiful woman as opposed to Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just distracting is all. Okay. Please see the on-record statement must be included in full, attributed to the attorney for Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and all its representatives, Brian Friedman. It is shameful that Ms. Lively and her representatives would make such serious and categorically false accusations against Mr. Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and its representatives, and get another desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation, which was garnered from her own remarks and actions during the campaign for the film. The interviews, press activities that were observed publicly in real time and unedited, which allowed for the internet to I'm not going to read this entire thing. What was the point of this? Oh, I'd imagine it's all in here. But I also know that this is emails that we've already read before, like in the complaint. It was in the CRD. I don't understand why it's being reasserted in a declaration. Declaration is the word I was looking for. So their Exhibit 8 was an email to Steve Sarowitz. New York Times email asked about Sarowitz's alleged $100 million budget to smear Lively. There was an allegations that Sarowitz was on set for a private scene involving Lively. This is supposed to put additional pressure on Baldoni's team by expanding the retaliation efforts to investors. And let's take a look at that email. So Exhibit 8. Exhibit 8. This is supposed to be an email, okay, to Mr. Baldoni. How long is it? All right, we could get through this. We are reporting about a crisis communication operation conducted on behalf of you, Jamie Heath, and Wayfarer Studios to protect your reputations and harm Blake Lively's as described in legal complaints filed today. The effort was undertaken last summer out of concern that complaints Ms. Lively had made during the filming of It Ends With Us would become public during the movie's rollout. We have learned that Ms. Lively filed a legal complaint against you, Mr. Heath, Steve Sarowitz, Wayfarer, Melissa Nathan, Jed Wallace, Jennifer Abel, alleging sexual harassment, retaliation. Jesus Christ. Oh, you know, I can't even use the excuse that it's like after 1 a.m. It's 10:20 where I'm at right now.
Long day.
And aiding and abetting of harassment and retaliation, among other claims. The complaint claims misconduct by you and Mr. Heath during filming, including repeatedly violating physical boundaries, making sexual and other inappropriate comments. Anyway, so they're directing this email. They outlined the misconduct, and I guess that was it. So that was, I was expecting there to be a response there. During shooting, Miss Lively brought complaints to you and Mr. Heath about alleged sexual and other inappropriate conduct. She claims you had improvised unwanted kissing and her and discussed your sex life. Turns out that's on tape, and that's not at all what it purported to be. She claims Mr. Heath shown her a video of his wife naked. We've all seen that video snap. What do you call it? A screen grab of the video. It is not her naked. They're both, well, I don't know if he was naked or not, but she must have been. And she was in the afterbirth of after giving birth. And I had concluded, yeah, I probably wouldn't just want to be shown that. And you're like, oh, but it's so beautiful. Like, why not? It'd be like a great thing. Like, yeah, I don't want to see anybody's afterbirth. And then you're like, what if I sent you my afterbirth? I was like, I don't think I'd want to see your afterbirth. And you just kind of
You didn't get it?
I sure did.
I wouldn't, if I saw it, I wouldn't think, oh my God, someone's showing me porn.
Well, I wouldn't think it was porn. It was like, hey, dude, I don't want to see your wife naked in the tub. You know what I mean? Like it was Dominic showing me. What if
you're filming a scene where you're helping deliver the baby and the director, like, or a producer or whatever, is like, hey, this is what we had in mind for the scene. Can I show you this? And they and they hand you the phone and you just see this, the the screen grab.
I feel like to prepare for that scene, what I would have done is watch the movie Schindler's List. Or Look Who's Talking. Or Look Who's Talking To. Or, I don't know. I don't think I would have needed to see an actual image of afterbirth to know how to act like a doctor who was delivering a kid.
But what about a dad?
I don't think I need any other. I could pull from my own experiences from that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Then,
Like
then in that moment, you could say like, "Oh, hey, I appreciate that, but I don't really feel comfortable looking at that." And you don't need to go like file a complaint about it or pretend you filed a complaint about it and then sue someone.
I guess it would depend on who showed me the picture. Like if it was Dominic's like, what the fuck, dude? I don't want to see this shit. I'd be like, like that. If you were to say, hey, look at my afterbirth, I'm like, ugh. Just like, it's like, I don't need to see all that.
Well, but context is everything, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't call it porn though. I would not assume that I was being harassed by the act of you trying to show me like a very intimate part of your family history, which is what she's doing. And I've said many times that the problem that Lively is going to have throughout the entirety of this lawsuit is the reasonableness of her claims. Nobody finds her reasonable. And I really think that she's lost touch with what's reasonable and what's not. She lives in a world that Hollywood has cultivated for her. The comforts, what's reasonably comfortable for an A-list celebrity. Would you call her an A-list celebrity?
I don't know if I called her that.
I mean, I would never call her that, but is she like one by default? Like it just has the general public.
I mean, I feel like she's one by default because of her husband.
I wouldn't even call Ryan Reynolds an A-lister.
I think
I personally wouldn't. I'll tell you my A-listers. These are my A-listers. Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, obviously, right? Denzel. Those are the A++ listers. Morgan Freeman. I'll put in that category.
You talking about the most talented or who is considered an A-lister in Hollywood?
Like I'm watching that movie only because they're in it. Mm-hmm. Like I will watch shit that Morgan Freeman is in just because he's Morgan Freeman. Mm-hmm. I will watch. Well, it's not true about Tom. But I will watch a Tom Hanks movie just because it's Tom Hanks. I'll watch a Denzel movie just because it's Denzel.
Do you like Man on Fire? Love
that movie. Love that movie. Oh, you know what my favorite scene is? I mean, among the many, but the one that springs to mind is the suppository grenade. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, you got 2 minutes. It's like, I got time. You don't got time. Oh, love that movie. I think it was that singer's acting debut, Jennifer Lopez's husband. What was his name?
Oh, Mark Anthony. I
was so jealous of that guy. He's like, how in the F did that guy pull J-Lo? See, back in like the 90s, it was like J-Lo's like the immaculate because she was like Selena. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She had like the magical, like you know what I mean? Yeah. The magical ass, if you will, I guess.
It's so funny. I remember on MTV, there was, I don't know, it might have been Jenny from the Block, her song, but they were showing the music video and then they would do these streams where they would put like facts about the music video on the video instead of just playing the video. So I just remember as like a young kid, she's like in New York City on the subway and sitting on one of the seats and it said something like her butt is too big to like fit on a New York City subway seat. Just a random fact I remember from this video.
How would they have even tested that?
Maybe she like reported on it from filming the music video. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, now she's not nearly as attractive as she used to be. That has nothing to do really with her physical, she's just not a likable person. But in 1990s, man, the 1990s J-Lo, I mean, you're talking about
P. Diddy J-Lo?
Oh, boy. I got stuff coming out on P. Diddy this week.
Oh, man.
And part of it includes her. Yeah, the P. Diddy J-Lo. That would have been the one, around 1999. And before she was with P. Diddy, it was Mark Anthony. Or was it after?
After.
That would make sense. They should go from P. Diddy to Mark Anthony.
Total P. Diddy, sense. Then Ben, Affleck than Mark Anthony, I believe.
Okay, I could understand. Schnitzel, I'm asking your opinion. I get Ben Affleck. I get A-Rod. I don't understand P. Diddy. I don't understand Mark Anthony. Make it make sense for me.
Mark Anthony, and maybe for both of them, maybe it's the talent. Because
Well, actually, when you say it like that, it does kind of make sense because that guy's could sing like a motherfucker.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know much about him and his music, but maybe he's like really a genius, like behind the scenes. Maybe he produces music too. Maybe he writes a lot of his music. I don't know, but any aspect of that, and then
But P. Diddy,
P. Diddy, I mean, maybe it's the bad guy thing. Like
P. Diddy, though, of all the bad guys that were out there, P. Diddy was the one.
I don't know, and maybe he had a lot of confidence and a lot of swag, and she was just like, "Yeah, let's do
Maybe it
it."
was a lot of baby oil laced with illicit drugs. They clotted her judge. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I'll get all the other ones. I won't get P. Diddy. I'll even get Mark Anthony now when you put it that way, because that makes sense. Because that guy, he could. There's women that I think of like that. Like Linda Ronstadt would be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like a traditionally A++ modelish, but her voice is Jesus Christ with that, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it, but man, I've never liked that guy. Could I just put on record? I've never liked that guy. I didn't like him back in the 90s when I was in high school. I didn't like him back then. I mean, there was Tupac, there was Biggie, and there was all these other people that were way better than him, and he was just always in the music videos for no reason. It's like, why is he even there? Like doing it because he owned the fucking companies. That's why. Because he owned the record label. That's why he was there. Let that be a lesson to you. Sometimes you just gotta place your talents where they're most effective. Creative. I forgot what I was doing for a minute. We were going through these criticisms of Baldoni. So she alleged that throughout filming that you and Mr. Heath invaded Miss Lively's privacy. Your studio Wayfarer agreed to provide a full-time intimacy coordinator. They did. Miss Lively had expressed concerns about you. All right, I'm getting angry all over again. I'm not going to read this entire thing. And I'm supposed to wrap this up for you too. I forget. I told you I was going to do like another 10 minutes. I'm like, well, to be fair, I only got like 4 more to go. So there's an email to digital strategist Jed Wallace. Wallace was allegedly responsible for Reddit and TikTok manipulation. A New York Times email that directly asked about his efforts to amplify anti-Lively content. Let's see what this exhibit looked like. So here's their exhibit 9. Well, that doesn't look like exhibit 9, does it?
It doesn't.
Well, I think I probably was dyslexic and just saved it under the wrong thing. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought there was another one that's it says exhibit 6, but it says exhibit 3. If you go to your 6, it says exhibit 3.
Yeah, exhibit 3, part 4. This one was supposed to be exhibit. Oh, Jesus. Well, we got that off. What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? Can I just skip it? Here, this was the exhibit 9. This is the exhibit 9, and it comes out as exhibit 6. Oh, because it says 1079. 1079. It's listed as exhibits. That's why. On the court docket, it was 1079. That's how it was filed.
Okay.
It's not me. It's not me. So this is what, look. In my notes, I put it as exhibit 9, but it is filed as exhibit 6. I want to make sure everyone knows that wasn't my mistake. Anyway, so what a day. I don't know what to tell you, Schnitzel.
You need a
All right,
drink.
here we go. I've had a drink.
Drink more.
I have consumed almost a full bottle of this white wine.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what it is. I just opened it. It was in the fridge. Just like, you know what? This one, I choose you.
I used to work at a wine shop, and I feel like I still know nothing about wine.
You know what? Is it like whiskey? Like, is it like cigars? Have you ever gotten a wine tasting thing?
Well, I gave wine tastings there. And
Okay,
I'd,
but
like, talk
did you
about,
believe your bullshit though?
Not all of it. No, I mean some of it, like you can taste apple or you can taste fucking what smoke or bark or
Baked
whatever.
bread,
Cherry.
almonds, citrus, plum.
Sometimes you can, but I find the whole thing is an art. It's just not an art I'm super interested in.
I just feel
Personally.
like it's you spend so much time trying to craft a beverage that has these flavor notes that you have to work so hard to like experience. Or you could just eat a fucking apple. You know what I mean? Like I'm drinking this white wine here. I have no idea how much it costs. I don't know if it costs $20 or $80, but as I sniff it, I smell hints of citrus, pear. There's a little orange zest in there. Maybe some baked breads. I'm going to sip it the way that I would a whiskey. There's definitely like some anise and some black currant, maybe a little truffle oil. But you know what else? I say all of that, and if I tasted another white wine, I'd probably say the exact same thing, and none of that shit was in there.
I was like,
Imagine.
what an interesting mixture of flavors.
I don't know what it tastes like. It tastes delicious. That's what it tastes like. It tastes delicious. When people ask me, like, what's a good whiskey? The one that you like, man. Just pick the one that you like.
That's right.
And don't waste money on a Macallan 18. If you don't know what you're looking for in a Macallan 18, you're better off going with the Macallan 12. Or a fucking Woodford Reserve. Or like a Jameson Black Barrel. Or like a Dalmore 15. Or like any other, like 50 other better whiskeys than going for a Macallan 18 that you may or may not be able to understand why that's significantly better than the Macallan 15. Like specifically $300 worth.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. Anyway, so this email. Hey, did you get your videos done?
No, I'm a little over halfway through, but it's just taking forever to source all the material.
Oh,
So yeah, that's taking a lot. And putting it all into Photoshop and sizing it properly and redacting properly and all that stuff. So I'm hoping it will be done tomorrow.
if y'all haven't checked out Schnitzel Ninja's channel, I haven't called you Schnitzel Ninja in a long time, man.
It's a mouthful.
I remember when I used to think you were a guy.
I think a lot of people did. And the first time I went on a stream, I was hiding out in my bathroom. It's a long story. And hopped on Lauren's stream. And then I talked and people were like, what?
The hell?
Girl?
My initial image of you was like of a 34-year-old incel. I know you're not 34, and I know you're not a guy, and I know you're not an incel. I'm just saying that, like, who would endeavor to do this? Like, just broadcast these.
Someone who was pissed and like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
And
You
no one's
cannot.
posted it yet. Well, I'll request it and I'll post it. If no one else has gotten it up yet, I'll do it.
You've been paying attention to some of these MAGA town hall meetings where they're like yelling at their Republican leaders
Yeah.
for bullshit, telling them to do their job. And then this one guy comes out there and says, you know what? God bless America. And he just turns around and says, well, that was it, folks. Maybe we shouldn't do town halls anymore.
Can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
And he did. And then he moved to rearrange the kitchen. How about that? Cheers.
Things are crazy.
Oh, I'm afraid. I'm really afraid about where this is all going.
I know. It's not good.
Another discussion, another stream. Anyway, this one says
Dave Neal popped in the chat.
is Dave Neal here?
Yeah, he said howdy.
What's up, Dave? Man, I ain't talked to Dave in a minute. Dave, if you haven't checked out his channel, when this whole case started, I think he was like at 76,000 subscribers. The last time I checked, I think he was like pushing 130,000 subscribers. Dave Neal is, if I call Lauren Knighty the hardest working woman on YouTube. Dave Neal is the hardest working man on YouTube. He's got this on lock. He's got his own podcast that he streams, I believe, simultaneously with his YouTube channel. And he posts on this specific case every single day. He's a comedian, stand-up comedian. He does tremendous work. He is all over the place in terms of his coverage of the case. And I'll tell you what, if you want honest, good, convicted coverage, he's one of these people that will go by the letter of the evidence. He will follow the evidence wherever it leads. Now, I remember his initial coverage of this case. He was very neutral. He was very neutral, the way that I kind of try to be. And he just kind of went through all of the evidence. And I don't know if he's picked a side so far yet on this case. I think he has certain opinions. But I also know that if you're looking for objective coverage of really anything, not just the Lively case, of anything, Dave Neal is a good dude, man. You're not going to go wrong listening to his channel. Go check his channel out, give him a subscribe, and get his channel up to. He deserves to be like a 1 million subscriber YouTuber. He's like 125,000 in. He's got like a good ways to go. He's like 10% of the way there. But help him get there. He's a good dude, man. We miss Dave Neal over here.
He's great. He covers things in such a palatable way. I love how he mixes his humor in.
And he's hilarious, man. You want to know what else? He is disarmingly intelligent. The first time I talked to Dave Neal on the phone was about the Laura Owens case. And he's like very self-deprecating, like, oh, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know this and that. But the dude knows his shit, man. Like he does his research. And if he doesn't know the law, he knows the facts and he knows them inside and out. He's like a walking encyclopedia of whatever case that he's covering. And for that reason, just because the virtue of his hard work, he deserves your consideration to subscribe to his channel. Go check him out, man. Dave Neal's a good dude, man. Miss that guy. Hopefully, me and him will connect shortly, sometime soon, about this case or any other. I haven't talked to him in a while. Anyway, let me continue with this. So I was on, what was I on, Schnitzel? I was on Exhibit 9.
6, well, 1079, which is...
Right. It was filed as 9, 107.9. It's actually their Exhibit 6. It is an email, and it was addressed to Mr. Heath. So Mr. Heath says, we are reporting about a crisis communication operation conducting on behalf of you, Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, to protect your reputations and harm Blake Lively's as described in a legal complaint filed today. The effort was undertaken last summer out of concern that complaints Miss Lively had made during the filming of It Ends With Us would become public during the movie's rollout. We have learned that Miss Lively filed a legal complaint against you, Mr. Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz, Wayfarer, Melissa Nathan, Jed Wallace, and Jennifer Abel, alleging sexual harassment, retaliation, and aiding and abetting of harassment and retaliation, among other claims. The complaint claims misconduct by you and Mr. Baldoni during filming, including repeatedly violating physical boundaries and making sexual and other inappropriate comments. The complaint includes a side letter to her contract signed by you in which the studio agreed to install more safeguards during filming and agreed not to retaliate against Miss Lively. She's now saying you violated the terms of the letter. The complaint includes extensive private text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. And that document the crisis communication operation. They include exchanges involving you, Mr. Baldoni, and the crisis communication team headed by Ms. Nathan. The New York Times reviewed these along with other documents. We are seeking a response to the claims of misconduct, and they're re-alleging all the other stuff that we've seen. And I guess their point in all of that was that there was no response. And they're kind of using that to say that, oh, no response is like evidence of guilt. And my thought on that was no response is more akin to we're in the midst of litigation and we're not going to respond to you, but for in the pleadings. How about that? You want a response? Read our amended complaints. Lots of love to you. Bye. So that was their Exhibit 9. Their Exhibit 1012. I'm calling their Exhibit 12. 1012. It was further internal PR documents detailing how they plan to spread negative stories about Lively. There was plans to suppress media stories on Baldoni. And so let's take a look at that. So this is their 10 through 12. This was in the declaration attached in support of trying to dismiss plaintiff lawsuit from the New York Times. This email starts out, it's from Megan Toohey. How would you pronounce that name? Is it Toohey or Twohey?
I would say Tui.
Oh, you're much smarter than I. That makes perfect sense. Megan Toohey. Somehow that makes more sense. Ms. Nathan, we are reporting about a crisis communication operation conducted on behalf of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfair Studios to protect their reputations and harm Blake Lively's as described in a legal complaint filed today. Our reporting found that the men hired you to lead this effort undertaken last summer out of concern that complaints Miss Lively had made during the filming of It Ends With Us would become public during the movie's rollout. We have learned that Miss Lively filed the legal complaint against you, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Steve Sarowitz, Wayfair, Jed Wallace, Jennifer Abel, alleging sexual harassment, retaliation, and aiding and abetting of harassment, retaliation, among other claims. The complaint claims misconduct on the part of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath during filming, including repeatedly violating physical boundaries, making sexual and other inappropriate comments. The complaint includes a side letter to her contract signed by Mr. Heath, in which the studio agreed to install more safeguards during filming and agreed not to retaliate against Miss Lively. She is now saying they violated the terms of the letter. The complaint includes extensive private text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. Oh, damn it. I keep on getting this thing. It keeps on wanting to do the select thing rather than, never mind.
I know what you mean.
Every time, man. The complaint includes extensive. Okay, we are seeking your response to the claims of retaliation through this PR campaign, and we would welcome the opportunity to take with you on the record. Please offer any on the record comments, as well as any other information you think we should know. Additionally, please notify us of any inaccuracies. We need to hear back from you tomorrow by noon Eastern. You have worked with high-profile clients, including Johnny Depp, whose wife, Amber Heard, accused him of physical abuse. He successfully sued Ms. Heard for defamation, and the trial became a spectacle amid suspicious of an online campaign to damage her credibility. And
She did that to herself.
Well,
Oh my God.
not to relitigate that case, but kinda. In the text messages, you reference your involvement in that campaign. Can you comment on your involvement and what was done? This year, after a decade at the New York consultancy, Hiltzik Strategies, you started your own firm, Tag PR. Its majority stakeholder is a company run by the prominent music manager, Scooter Braun. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath hired you, and you in turn brought in Mr. Wallace. You sent Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath a planning document in early August describing options to pursue if Miss Lively or her team went public with complaints. Mr. Baldoni wanted more. Jennifer Abel wrote to you. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. You wrote, of course. But when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we will or could do, because that could get us in a lot of trouble. If there's any aspect, Schnitzel, of this complaint that is problematic against the opponents of Blake Lively, it's this idea that there was a smear campaign against her. And it's specifically because there were letters that indicated specifically, we can't write it down. We can't write it down. It will destroy. We can't put this in writing because we'll get in a lot of trouble. We send over documents. We can't send over the work we will or could do because that could get us in a lot of trouble. And them having to explain the context of those sentences and the meaning behind what they were trying to say in the moment is going to be difficult. Mm-hmm. But I wonder this. I wonder if the harassment allegations are so egregious that they pull from the credibility of any other sensible claims that they might have had. Look, just because they were defending themselves doesn't mean that Baldoni's PR team or any of the co-defendants' PR teams might not have conspired to try to run a defamatory PR campaign against Blake Lively. And they're explicitly questioning them about specific instances of them communicating specific things and wanting an explanation. This is problematic. It is. You presented proposals to hire contractors to dominate social media through full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and generally working to change narrative. Miss Abel wrote to you, I think we need to put the social combat plan into motion. And you responded, so do I. You worked to prevent stories about Mr. Baldoni's behavior that concerned Miss Lively and reinforce negative ones about her. When you read this stuff, Schnitzel, how does it strike you?
I mean, it sounds bad for Baldoni's side. It sounds like they're laying the groundwork to prove the retaliation against her online, planting stories.
Just commonsensically, like if they're trying to like if that's the language, this is the language they're straight up confronting them about these things in writing, and they want a response. Explain yourself. How did I come across this communication where you said you need to put a social combat plan into motion? And then you respond, so do I. I want a response on that. You work to prevent stories about Mr. Baldoni's behavior that concern Miss Lively and reinforce negative ones about her. What the fuck is basically what they're asking. When Miss Abel wrote to you August 4th that I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with, just to get ahead of it, you replied that you had spoken off the record to an editor at the Daily Mail and wrote that she's ready when we are. The press coverage probing Mr. Baldoni's separation from Miss Lively and the rest of the cast was mostly vague and didn't include the most serious allegation against Mr. Baldoni. You texted Miss Abel. He doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him just how effing lucky. The whispering in the ear. The sexual connotations like Jesus effing Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there was just so much. You indicated that you succeeded in keeping allegations against him out of stories, writing in one that major news outlets were standing down on HR complaints. And they go on with all this stuff. This is from Megan Toohey from the New York Times. Let's take a look at their Exhibit 11. It's going to be a lot more of the same. And I skipped over like the last, but you kind of get the tenor of it. This one is an email to urgent questions from the New York Times addressed to Mr. Sarowitz, again from Megan Toohey. We are reporting about a crisis communication operation conducted on behalf of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Wayfarer, all the people. The effort was undertaken last summer out of concern that complaints Miss Lively had made during the filming of It Ends With Us would become public during the movie's rollout. We have learned that Miss Lively filed the legal complaint against you, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, all of the people. The complaint claims misconduct by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, including repeatedly violating physical boundaries and making sexual and other inappropriate comments. The complaint includes a side letter to her contract signed by Mr. Heath, in which the studio agreed to install more safeguards, including filming, and agreed not to retaliate against Miss Lively. She is now saying they violated the terms of the letter. The complaint includes extensive private text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena and that document the crisis communication operation. They include exchanges involving Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and the crisis communication team headed by Miss Nathan. The New York Times reviewed these along with other documents. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that just as much as I don't think that there's any meat on the bones with respect to the harassment claims against Heath or Baldoni, Lively's team, you can't just hand wave away the fact that those comments were made by specific people on the Baldoni team. You can't just take those comments and say, oh, well, they were just like, it was just like locker room talk. You can't do that.
This is the closest thing she has to real evidence in any part of her case.
Hence my thumbnail, Blake finally strikes back with some kind of evidence. Look, it's not corroborating the harassment claims, but there is a real question to ask about whether or not. Now, look, we know And we've opined. And the last time that you were on my stream about a couple of weeks ago, we were going through her amended complaints and we were wondering this and that. And we noted that they were preparing for the idea that Lively was going to come out with false complaints of harassment against Baldoni. But what if part of their defense was legitimately to defame Blake Lively? That's why we're not settling this case right now. That's why if there is any meat on the bone on Lively's side, this is really where it's at. And so the complaint, the civil complaint, it has aspects of sexual harassment, certainly. I've been saying for a long time, those aren't going anywhere. It's the defamation stuff, really on both sides, that is problematic. And I'm not sure, because we haven't really gotten that far into discovery to decide one way or another who is on, well, whether or not there's defamatory statements on either side. I don't know. But these statements, the way that they've been phrased internally, the way that they have gotten a hold of these statements, there's going to be depositions, there's going to be further discovery, there's going to be things. There's a lot to answer for. So this litigation, it's scheduled for trial exactly 1 year from now, sometime in March of next year.
Mhm.
And my guess is the majority of the discovery, the majority of the subpoenas are going to center around whether or not there was actively a smear campaign. Because you can make the argument that Blake Lively has a prima facie case if you assume that all the things that she's saying is true, evidentiary-wise, that they certainly have people alluding to plans to destroy her. They certainly have evidence to state that there were people that were conspiring to move this campaign forth against her, to discredit her. 100% you can do that. Now, you could put context into it and all this and that. The 168-page timeline from Justin Baldoni serves really well to dispel any notion of harassment on the part of Baldoni. I don't believe there's any jury that's going to convict him of that. What I'm not so sure on is what the general public thinks with respect to defamation claims against Miss Lively. What do you think about all of that?
I think it's really valid. And like you said, we're not super far into discovery. So it will be really interesting to see if what comes out in that process supports, this campaign against her. Like how much evidence will we have that proves his team actually did things versus them just talking about it and saying, well, we have this ready if we want to move forward.
100%. So on their exhibit, I guess this is their exhibit 9. I marked it, the docket marked it as their exhibit 12, 10712. But it's really, it's a lot of the same thing. It's just emails to specific people asking for explanations about specific forms of misconduct. And so I'm not going to get too far into that at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we're going to wrap this up just with my final thoughts about how do I get this off my screen? There we go. I'm going to wrap this up with my final thoughts about where I think all of this is going. All right. So we're very early into this case. Who do I think is winning? Honestly, I think it's a lot closer than you think it is if you take into account the totality of the causes of actions against both sides. I think when was this lawsuit filed? At the end of December? Was it the end of December?
Yeah, during the wildfires, right?
Yeah, it's during the fires, that's right. What we have here is there's a lot of overreaching on both sides with claims of this and that. But really what this case is going to ultimately be about is a case of how you conduct PR in Hollywood, what's allowed, and what's not allowed. How is it possible that one individual can work behind the scenes to influence the minds, the hearts and minds of those with influence in the industry to potentially squash another individual, such as a Justin Baldoni? On the other hand, how do you go about defending yourself? If the way you go about defending yourself is by casting false defamatory stories about Blake Lively, how do we litigate that? How do we view that in the defamatory context? Nothing in this case is legally new. These are not new issues, but where this case is going to be won or lost is really in these competing claims of breach of contract and defamation. And all of the discovery so far is geared towards the defamatory claims. The breach of contract stuff, I don't think we've really touched on that so much so far, and at least in February and the early part of March. I'd imagine that those things are coming, but you have breaches of contract on both sides. They're claiming she breached her agreement when she said she's going to work on the movie, and then she started making demands and counter demands and all this stuff, and I'm not going to participate unless, and basically anticipatory breaches that forced us to shift things in the way that we do things. And there might even be claims that but for Blake Lively's failure to comply with what was originally contracted, the movie would have been a lot more successful. I don't know if I would even say that. I would argue that because this case has become so controversial, it has probably helped the movie in terms of its numbers. I mean, I was never planning on watching that movie. I'm still haven't watched that movie, but if I was ever going to watch that movie, it's only because of this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you plan on it?
No. Honestly, I mean, there's so much content to consume these days that when I found out she was starring in it, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate for that movie. And I was like, I'm probably not going to go see it or watch it anywhere.
So you had a negative view of her before this even happened?
I did. And it wasn't any particular thing that happened, but I read a lot about like pop culture in my spare time, and just things that I've read about her. I just have had like, yeah, a negative view of just who she is as a person, I guess. And I mean, I think she's probably a great mom. She's probably a great wife. I think maybe not so great to like other people outside of that family unit. Anyway, so yeah, I already had that feeling.
I have no experience with this lady. By the way, April Love says that I think at the end of the day, Blake got caught being flirty, inappropriate to Justin, and her and RR concocted all of this to save his face and her bad media PR campaign. I mean, I've had that thought. I don't know. I've considered whether or not she was trying to be flirty, and Justin was like, yeah, I miss my kids. That's pretty much what happened. You have no idea how flirty I could be and without teeth. And I'm a ball buster. It's like, yeah, I miss my wife and kids. You could just, could you get, you know what? You see these pictures of my kids and my wife? And she was like, fuck this guy. And it's like, there's some that, I mean, that was one of my initial theories. There's some that you don't buy into that bullshit that she was flirting with Justin Dees. I don't fucking know. I don't care. I honestly don't give a shit about whether or not she's flirting with him or not. I just know that what she did to him, accusing him of harassment with the evidence that's been displayed so far, is bullshit. Mm-hmm. I have a real negative opinion of her allegations. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was into him. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was trying to make her husband jealous. Maybe it was like, oh, you know what? You don't want me? Well, guess what? My co-star, Justin Baldoni, might want me. And you know what? We had a kissing scene today, and he got a little extra energy because he's more attracted to me than you. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things. You don't think I don't see? I'm a family law attorney. I see these kinds of complaints in my office on a weekly basis. I could conjure up a lot of different explanations, possible explanations for Ryan Reynolds irrationally acting as angrily as he did towards Justin Baldoni. And what would it be? Pure speculation. Doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean anything. My opinion means literally dog shit. It means nothing. It doesn't legally matter. What matters is whether or not Justin Baldoni actually harassed her. From the evidence, it appears no, at least not from what I've seen so far. The real question is whether or not he defamed her or not, or his team defamed her or not. That is a bigger question that has yet to be answered. The same goes with Lively with respect to breach of contract. I would argue with respect to the breach of contract thing, I've already kind of said what I've thought about that. They had initial contractual obligations to each other, but Lively at like 50 different occasions wanted to change things up. And so she would offer these alternating opinions, and they would go along with them. I have said many times that legally that has the force of she was making counter offers to her contractual obligations, and they kept on over and over saying, yeah, sure, we'll go for that. And the problem that they got into was it might have been okay. It might have been okay, but they kept on telling her how great Lively was, how great her ideas were, how great her opinions were. So any kind of breach of a contract, she's going to argue, look, I made suggestions and they agreed with them. So I'm not sure where they're going to go really with the breach of contract claims. I really feel like this is going to come down to how this case's legacy, I feel like, is going to be more geared towards how public relations is litigated in the future in Hollywood going post 2025. This is not a harassment case. This is not even a breach of contract case. This is about how you conduct PR, what is in bounds, what is not in bounds, what constitutes defamation, what doesn't. And in that regard, I think that these two are kind of neck and neck. There's a lot of issues where you can say that Baldoni is coming out ahead, but where Lively's team is coming out even is at the very least the defamation claims. That's my view of it so far.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I see that. I think that was maybe overshadowed in the beginning by all of these like tangible claims where like, oh, you see video evidence that doesn't support what she's saying and she can't produce any evidence to support what she's saying. Yeah. And then that kind of the shock factor maybe of that dies down, and then you really dig into like what else is there. And I think you're exactly right based on what we have now.
Based on what you know about this case, who do you favor? Which side are you on? Are you team Lively or team Baldoni?
I mean, I think as far as the harassment claims, I think I can't claim to know what her motive is, but I think she knows she's lying about several things. But I could see it turning out like a Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing where they rule in favor of both parties for different reasons.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's with any lawsuit, but I'm going to ask, there's 345 of you out there right now. If you are team Lively, type 1. If you're team Baldoni, team type 2. What does that mean? It just means that you think that that's who is winning the case so far in your subjective perspective.
Yeah, mine's definitely Baldoni given that.
Yeah. Mine is Baldoni giving the other causes of action, but I got to tell you, with the defamation stuff, it's neck and neck for me. I need more evidence on both sides. Mm-hmm. But it really the fact that she lumped sexual harassment into it with that evidence, it really puts a bad taste in my mouth going forward for her. I say neck and neck because I'm trying to look at the legal claims objectively without being influenced by my bad opinions about the how weak her harassment claims are. And all of the audience seems to be in favor of Justin Baldoni.
I did see one.
Who was the one?
Renata.
I knew it. Renata's she's been team Lively the entire time. And you know what? Good on her. She's been holding out this entire time. I don't even see Renata in there. Oh, there she is. One for smear claim. Oh, she says for the smear claim. Yeah, I agree. Not for the harassment. Look, if Lively's going to win in any of these causes of action, is going to be on that. And I can also see a world where a jury just looks at all of the behind the scenes communications from the PR teams from both and just decides, you know what? I think that they both win. How about that?
Mhm.
We're going to award them both $1. It was a draw. Thanks for playing. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day.
And then what do? You just
Oh shit! God damn it!
That was the wrong button.
what are we trying to push?
I was trying to press this one.
Bitch is running wild, man.
Good
Yeah, I
old Michael
remember that girl. She was a hoe. For show.
Totally.
Oh, the show that keeps on giving.
Oh, I got to go watch that movie again. I don't know, maybe this weekend or something. Schnitzel, I know that you got shit to do, man. Thank you so much for coming on. You totally didn't have to, but you came
Thanks for
through
having me.
like a G. If you haven't checked out the Schnitzel Ninja channel, check her out. She's got a couple of. You want to plug your videos coming out shortly or no?
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I'm gonna post it and post a thing. But yeah, it's a video coming out about the Laura Owens case.
Oh, if you're not
situation.
familiar with the Laura Owens case, go check out Schnitzel Ninja's channel because she has historical stuff related to that case. There's a lot of people that covered it. Dave Neal, Megan Fox. I did a number on that case. But Schnitzel and Lauren Knighty, would you say that you're like the originator of content reported for the Laura Owens case?
No, I mean Dave is definitely the original person, but my channel is the like facts channel where you just see
Yeah.
court videos, you see evidence, so it's no commentary from me or anyone else. It's just the straight up facts.
That's where I came to know you because I went to your channel to go watch like some of the court hearings. And that's why I at first thought that you were like a guy and like an incel and probably like 34 and living in your mama's basement or something
Just live in my own basement.
in Wisconsin.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
funny. Yeah, to think what, when you have no context to who somebody is and you're like, what who would do that?
Oh, somebody that is inspired enough, either through inspiration or anger.
Anger.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that she claimed happened to her have happened to me. A lot of her behaviors have been
You're talking about
done
Owens
to
or
me.
Lively?
Oh, sorry, Owens.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that I was perhaps triggered in multiple ways
Yeah.
by the whole thing and the fact that she was trying to cover everything up, getting everything removed from the internet. And I was just like, that's just such bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed.
Well, you know how I came involved with the case. I don't know if it was you. It was somebody from Reddit. Who is the person that owns the Justice for Clayton or JFC? I forget who it was, but somebody contacted me on Reddit and said, "Hey, get a hold of Dave Neal about this case." And at the time, I was only doing like true crime content. I didn't know anything about this case. And then I did. And then I got a hold of him and then we got on the phone and we talked about it. And then he filled me in. And then I very famously did like a 4.5 hour podcast going through all of this evidence. It's like, who is this fucking lady, Laura Owens? Jesus Christ. If you only knew how tight my vagina was, you would change your mind about me. It's like, whoa, holy shit. For those of you that are not in the know, Laura Owens is this person who fell in love. Was that accurate? Would you think that's accurate?
No.
With a guy, or when it was highly infatuated with the Bachelor, the guy that played the Bachelor, Clayton Eckert. And they had a one-night encounter that did not include penetration. But as a result of that one sexual encounter that did involve oral sex, she claimed to be pregnant with twins. Matter of fact, to prove her mettle, she even decided that she would take a pregnancy test in front of Mr. Eckert, proving that she was once and for all pregnant. She proceeded to file a paternity petition against him in Arizona, in Maricopa County, where all of these shenanigans ensued. Turns out it would come to pass that not only was she not pregnant, it's suspected that she was never pregnant, not even a miscarriage. She admitted to doctoring ultrasound images, medical documents, in an attempt to lead Clayton Eckert and the general public astray into thinking that she was once genuinely pregnant. And the reason why she's not having a kid is actually because she had a miscarriage. All of that came to pass. There was a trial on it in June. We came to know a wacky lawyer named Gingerbread Gingras. Wait, what's his actual name? David Gingerbread. David Gingerbread or Gingerbread Gingras.
I like
whichever.
gingerbread.
Who became a villain of sorts. We came to know him through his acts of tomfoolery and ballyhoo. Wayward threats, empty threats, rap battles between me and him. He is the weirdest effing attorney I've ever come across. My 11 years of practice. And there's many other things that can be said about that guy, but we're not going to talk about him on this stream. We were about 2 hours in. I know that Schnitzel is tired. She's way past her bedtime. Hey, Schnitz, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate you for coming through.
Appreciate you too. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we will see you. Hey, what do you think about moving Flad to like Thursday or Wednesday nights?
That sounds fine.
As opposed to Friday nights where like everybody's doing shit.
Sure.
Well, if I do that, I'm going to let you know, but I'm thinking I'll probably move Flad to like Friday at 3 p.m. or so, or after work.
Friday at 3 p.m.?
Wednesday. That's what
okay.
I'm well, Wednesday or Thursday. I'm thinking one of those 2 days. I'll let you know tomorrow. I'll let you know tomorrow for sure. I just got to get people on board. I'll do it when people are available.
I'm not free until like 7:30 or 8 on the weeknights, except Monday and Friday.
All right. I could work that out.
Or no, sorry, wait. No. I guess maybe like about 4 your time.
Hey, folks, if you are a viewer of Flad, you know what? I'm just going to put up a poll. I'll put up a poll asking when people would prefer to see Flad. And whatever's the winner is going to be the winner. We'll see. We'll figure that out. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, Schnitzel, as always. Thanks for coming in and helping out. You've been invaluable in your contributions. And we will see you all, tomorrow.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye.